Hello, my name is Ashley. In today's lesson, we will learn how to fill out online applications by looking at some important information, including online safety, applications, contracts, and forms. As you might recall from previous lessons, Adult Ed student Krista is looking for a data entry position which she found at the AdultEdMed hospital. However, she's having problems with the online job application. She needs to upload the resume and her photo ID, but she's not exactly sure how to do that. She's also worried about her privacy. I mean, really, is it safe to share personal information online? And who should be allowed to access your personal information and why? What are the dangers and how do you protect yourself? Take a moment to pause the video and test yourself to see how cyber safe you are. Go to this website and take the test. Once you finish the test, come back to the lesson and continue the video. So how did you do? Did your results surprise you or were they what you expected? As noted by Chief Information Security Officer Stephanie Nappo, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and a few minutes of cyber incident to ruin it. To get us started, we're going to look at the different types and purposes of online forms. Take a moment to think about the forms you have already seen. Maybe you received an emailed survey from a store you recently visited, or did they text you a link to an online form? If you ever signed up for an online shopping service, you probably created an account using a small form. Even your doctor's office might have asked you to sign up to their online portal, which is a security website for setting appointments and sending messages. Online forms use different tools for responses. The most common is the short answer text box. While it is as simple as typing the answer in the box, it is important to read carefully. Sometimes there is a specific pattern requested for phone numbers or dates. If done incorrectly, the form might not allow you to go on to the next page. An asterisk on any of these question items usually means that it is required to give a response in order to continue. Notice that both the sign-up form and the job application shown here are made up entirely of these text boxes. Let's look at other question types. In this job application, there is a drop-down menu to indicate which job you are applying for. When you click on the arrow button, a menu appears containing the list of options to choose from. The date section lets you type in the boxes or use the calendar button. Clicking the button opens a small window that lets you click on a mini calendar for the date. Multiple choice questions of a form or application usually use circles known as radio buttons for the answer choices. These allow only one response. Multiple answer questions, questions where you can select more than one answer, usually use checkboxes instead. Applications for employment or loans usually ask you to upload additional documents such as a resume, cover letter, photo identification, payment stubs, employment letters, or proof of address. In this case, there is a button that allows you to search your computer for a file to send or upload to this application. Now, we're going to look at online security risks. We share a lot of personal and private information through online forms, don't we? But is it really okay? Some personal information is safe to share, like first names and opinions, but other information should stay private for our safety. Personal information might include items like favorite foods, games, or music, whereas private information would include items like social security number, credit card number, or your mother's maiden name. You probably already know that the internet is not always a safe place. Even though it is very useful for helping us communicate and learn about the world, there are people out there that use the internet to cause harm. Without knowing how to browse the internet safely, you might be at risk of getting a computer virus, identity theft, cyberbullying, or even the loss of personal or private information. Using the internet safely is important. When the wrong people access your private information, you are at risk of identity theft. When your email address has a weak password, you are at risk of being hacked, which could lead to them contacting your friends, your family, and your coworkers pretending to be you to obtain more information about you. As you can see, it is important to guard your personal information. The good news is there are things we can do to protect ourselves when filling out online forms. Before giving any personal detail, ask yourself this: is it really necessary to share this information? If it's not, you might want to research the owner of the form or call the company instead to make sure they are legitimate. You should also be aware of your environment. In other words, make sure that while you're filling out an online form that you have privacy. We do not want anyone behind us to be able to see what we are entering onto the form. If you are sharing a computer or device, be cautious. Make sure you always delete the browsing history and log out when you are done with the computer. Always try to protect your privacy and avoid scams. Before starting an online form, check that the website is secure and trustworthy. You can do this by making sure that you recognize the URL or website. It is also a good idea to research the organization. Do they appear to be a legitimate company? Keep in mind that a secure URL will start with the letters HTTPS and should have a lock icon next to it. Also, consider if the application is password protected before entering your information. Furthermore, look for a use or privacy policy on the website. And when you choose a password, choose a secure password, meaning choose options that really are secret, that only you know, and keep them secret. Don't share with anyone. When creating your secure password, follow these guidelines. Use more than 8 characters. Use a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. Consider using something like this example provided for you. You will notice that there is a combination of numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and symbols. It would be close to impossible for anyone to even guess that password. Finally, do not accept website offers to save your username and password, and do not write your passwords down on a piece of paper. Now we're going to look at application web safety. Before completing an online form, survey, or application, we need to ask ourselves these questions. Is this a company I'm already familiar with? If not, how trustworthy are they? Check and see if they have a professional website with contact information. Read the third-party reviews. Make sure they have a physical business address that appears on Google Maps or MapQuest that matches the address on the website. And what am I already doing to keep my personal information safe? Let's look at an example. Most businesses have internal online forms for keeping track of work hours, but if you are an independent contractor, you might look for a convenient service online. Pause the video and either do a Google search for free online timesheet and choose one of the websites that isn't an advertisement, or simply go to the yokoboard.com website. Then go through the steps on the online safety checklist. Resume the video when you have completed this task. So, what did you find? Did the website pass your security checklist? If not, I would recommend finding another one. If you are applying for a job or a loan, you are about to type your social security number and other private information. Before you do that, ask yourself the following. Are you on a private network? If you're not on a private network, avoid logging into additional email accounts or social media. Are you in a secure location? If not, find a spot where no one can pass behind you. Put your back to the wall. If possible, use dividers or privacy screens. Do whatever you can to make sure no one else can see your private information. Let's say the website I'm looking at passes the security check, so I begin the application. The password is hidden, which is good, but I see 2 security risks. The first thing I see is unnecessary or optional information, and the second thing I see are linked social media accounts. The more information we share, the more likely it can end up in the wrong person's hands. For example, I know that the timesheet software does not need my phone number because they already know it, which is why it's optional. But because it is on the short form, some users will type it anyway. Linking social media accounts like Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn can be risky if someone gets their hands on the social media account. They can then use it to log into a number of services without the need of a password. Furthermore, when you click on Create an Account and it asks you to complete a task to prove you are not a robot, that helps assure you that this site is securing you against hackers. Unfortunately, this one doesn't, so I'm not feeling entirely safe using this website. In addition to using a strong password and declining the option to save passwords, here are some other strategies to keep your online information safe. Use the same professional email for all of the online applications you fill out. Save or print a copy of the terms or agreement. Make sure you log out of all online accounts before leaving. Using this sample employee work order for the AdultEdMed form, let's practice identifying website security risks and application question types using the security checklist and application steps. Please follow along and take notes. Feel free to pause the video at any time or go back if you need to review information. First, we will open an Internet browser window and enter the Austin Regional Clinic web address. Double check that the URL is spelled correctly. Take a moment to look for the following basic security features in this website. Make sure the URL is easy to read and remember. Make sure the URL starts with HTTPS. Make sure the website explains their privacy policy. In this case, the website achieves all three. Next, let's take a look at their job process. Click on Find a Job in the website navigation menu. On the next page, scroll down a little more and click on the Find a Job image. Using the search bar on the next page, type data entry to look for data entry jobs. Try to find a patient services coordinator job, but if you can't, choose any available job, then click on the Apply Now button. Read through the information on the next page and then click on the Consent button. Notice the form provided for setting up an application account. Examine the text boxes, but do not create an account for this exercise. Again, let's look for security features on the application website. Does the URL start with HTTPS? Does the website require a strong password? Are the password characters hidden when typed? Does the company explain their information privacy policy? Does the form ask you to complete a CAPTCHA or other activity to prove you are not a robot? In this case, this application site meets 4 out of 5. Without creating an account, close the web page. It's now time for your guided practice activity. You will need to complete the steps below. You may want to pause the video. Let's pretend to be Krista as we locate and analyze the safety of the Austin Regional Clinic online application. We will not actually submit this application. Instead, we will complete the AdultEdMed sample application for practice. Find Krista's information on the linked resume. Visit a job search website. Search for a job post. Check security using the skills you have learned. Determine whether this is a reasonably secure website to use for a job application. Use the AdultEdMed sample application to practice answering responses. Now, using the strategies you learned today, try choosing your own online application to practice with. Before you begin your own practice, you might want to review Internet safety on the GCF Learn website. Entering our personal information online can be a little scary and sometimes confusing, but it's often necessary, which is why online safety is important. So, before filling out your next online form, make sure you keep all of your information secure. Like Krista, your next job opportunity may be right around the corner, so let's make sure that you get that job without risking your personal information in the process.